Hey guys, this is Gamer. Welcome back to Touhou, the Genius of Sapphires. Last time we spent way too freaking long. It actually turned out to be 80 minutes raw, so it wasn't quite as long as I thought, but it's still pretty close. Yeah, we spent a long time in this particular world, stage even, going ahead and getting lots of stuff. We got a lot of good stuff though, so I'm definitely not against it, but yeah, we spent a lot longer than we probably should doing battling monsters and all of that fun stuff. But with that said, we are at the end and we have a party all ready to take on Yuyuko. So we have a lot to cover this part, so let's just get straight to it. The party I'm going with is this, and Patchouli is my commander because I don't really need Aya as the commander. I would like to get Patchouli a couple of levels, although yeah, I mean she's going to be involved in the Satori stuff too, but I would like to get a couple of levels with Patch because I'm probably going to be using her next, so Patchouli's going to feature fairly nicely in the next stuff. But yeah, essentially we're going for this. With these items here, we have the untouchable goggles because evasion up is okay. I mean, it probably won't make a difference, but hey, it's there anyway. So, yep, the Tori has her pretty much the same stuff she had before. Alice is coming in with the melon sword for a bit extra experience because Alice is never going to be attacking in this fight, so she may as well get experience plus 5%. She has the platinum shield now, which is the shield that we made before coming in here. Specifically for Alice, it's a direct upgrade to the shield she had before, so she can defend the party a fair bit better. This is the second best heavyweight armor I have right now. Sakuya has the better armor, so yeah, that's still fine though, good armor. And she has the charismatic ghost band because, as you may expect with Yuyuko being the master of making people suicide, she will try to insta-kill you. So, instant death protection on my absorption I was just about to say Mon for some reason. We're not playing Pokemon or Touhoumon. No, don't ask me to play Touhoumon, by the way, I'm not doing that. But yes, the death absorption on my main tank is obviously very important, and as a result I also have a little bit of resistance, a little bit of magic defense, because Alice's magic defense is literally 0, so there is that. Marissa is sporting most of the same stuff as before, except, well, actually she's sporting some fairly different things. More magic attack, even more magic attack, and the shower amulet, because if anything I'm going to be using water in this fight, and I may as well water enhance. The fire weakness may come into play very slightly, but probably won't, and even if it does, she has some magic defense, and she's probably going to be covered by Alice at that point, so not really a big deal. Sanai, much the same as before, except instead of the charismatic ghost band, she now has the slightly lesser death guard. You don't need this, but again, instant death protection on your healer is very much appreciated, so that's why we have this. And Sakuya, pretty much the same as before. In fact, she has all the same stuff as before, so she's kind of boring. And yeah, that's pretty much that. Let's go skill-wise next. I've upgraded Tori's gun tree a little bit, so now she has calculated barrage as well. I actually don't like this move very much though, because even though it says it hits 4 times, it really means 1 to 4, I think, and usually it means 1. I don't tend to find this skill as that good, but it's there anyway because Zero Kelvin Buster and Pororoka Slash are both 3-turn cooldown. I believe that's 2-turn cooldown with my reduction in her chaser tree, so they can't be used every turn, which means that this is kind of useful. I would put a chaser on her if I was using Patchouli in this party as well, but that would mean giving up Alice or Sanai, and I really can't afford to give up Sanai, and Alice is not necessary for this fight, but she's very, very, very good in this fight, let's put it that way. So I don't have enough sources or water to put the chaser on instead of this. there is my reason for it. The chaser is definitely decent though, because the attack can't miss, and that's very nice, but I don't have space for it. Alice is the same as before, she hasn't leveled up at all, so she hasn't learned any new skills yet. Marissa, you really don't need Final Spark, but in my one practice run it did a solid chunk of damage, so I'm having it anyway because freaking Final Spark, I like this move, so there we go. I like it just because it's cool, not because it's actually good, but you know, it's a good finisher at the very least. So we're going with it anyway. And Sunai's main difference here is instead of her permanent cure statusing, she now has Wind of Arrows instead for increasing accuracy. So that's that. And Sakuya, pretty much the same as before. I have both Blade and Another Murder on though, because debuffing is not impossible in this fight. And she has no use for Ultimate Division because obviously there's not enough things to do that. Doesn't really have any use for Double Slash either, but I don't have enough skills to replace for it yet, so there is that. So then growth-wise, Notori is again fairly focused into a gun tree, so she gets the Calculated Barrage. It's not that good an attack though, so you could very easily just ditch those 3 points and put them into Invention instead to get MP back. Not a huge amount given the battle conditions, but it could still work. Or if you want a little bit of extra accuracy and stuff like that, you could put it here. Or even into research. There's probably better places to put it, to be honest, but I want to just show Calculated Barrage, so there is that. Alice, again, everything to manipulation. She only has 3 other points though, instead of 4, so I can't get the MP cost down, but it's quite nice having craft actually at this point. The extra HP and shield evasion chance stuff is quite nice. So yeah, that's how that works. Marissa, you could actually go ahead and put 13 points into the laser tree here, because that Slayer effect can happen. She does have Slayer advantage in this fight, which is nice. But instead, I've decided to give her even more MP and go for the full magic attack route here. And then the other 3 points I had spare to... it's a shame I couldn't get the cost down here, but the other 3 points are going into Master Spark power, because Final Spark is cool. That's all you need to know. Sunai, most of her stuff going into the buff tree as per usual. Very soon... In fact, we could do it now, but I do like having the recovery skill strength up. But very soon we'll be able to max out this tree and have her half the cost of her buff skills, which is exceptionally good for many reasons. Mostly for normal fights, but she's really good when she has half status skill cost. It's just so good. And then Sakuya, most of the stuff again going into Two-Handed Sword for the 90 attack, and I've got a little bit of death resistance, maybe doesn't matter too much, but I have it anyway, and then the rest of the stuff just going for Illusion because Time Stop really isn't needed here. 15 physical attack is a bit better than 10, but the multiple hit chance is nice, so I have it there instead. You could easily put it here too, and probably actually get rid of the death resistance because it's not really going to matter too much, but it's just nice to have that little bit of chance to not get insta-killed, which is good. But if you need more accuracy, then go ahead and get made outs to 5 points. Then Patchouli just needs bombs, so bombs plus 2 in this tree, bombs plus 1 in this tree, and that is it. So yeah, that's the team. That is what we have to go with, so let us go and take on Yuyuko, right? Going up these this endless staircase to Haku. Yeah, this is automatic, by the way. I cannot actually do anything with this text, so yeah. But unfortunately, the staircase does indeed end. And wouldn't you guess it, as we saw in the mid-stage cutscene, Youmu is guarding the way. So indeed, it is all of us, and she will not let us pass no matter what. But Alice is like, no, we have to pass anyway. So, of course, the culprit is indeed Hiro, right? But Youmu is, like, legitimately way too loyal to Yuyuko. And even if Lady Yuyuko is truly the culprit, I am her bodyguard, and I shall not let you pass because I am a samurai, and that is how we work. Well, I mean, yeah, technically she kind of is like a samurai, right? But yeah, Youmu doesn't actually know if Yuyuko has started this instant or not, which is kind of silly when you think about it. But this is just poor naive Youmu in a nutshell, really. She just doesn't know. But if you don't know, then why are you protecting, right? But this is why we brought Satori, right? So, yep, really don't know anything. And Yomu's like, uh-oh, how did she know that? So either Yuyuko is doing this by herself and not with Yomu's help this time, or Yuyuko isn't actually the culprit. Spoilers, maybe. You never know, she could be working on her own. She could be working with Hikari for all we know. But yeah, Yomu's now like, uh-oh, how do you know this? And then yes, Satori can indeed. She needs to learn when to stop, though. That gigantic sweat drop. Oh, Satori, stop it. Stop it. Stop it. You're gonna get it. You're gonna get in so much trouble for this here. I forgot how light was here. You really should stop. Because now you're just embarrassing Youmu. And yeah, good job, Marissa. You really don't... I think she's kind of said too much, though. Because, yeah, Youmu doesn't particularly like that. In the slightest. And I don't blame her. So, yeah, well, what do you think? So, before it can be revealed. Yeah, indeed. So, slice or smash. Well, we'll do both because it's Youmu. Enough talk, have at you! Yeah, Youmu is really, really fast. So, yeah, like, player interaction, like, cutscene fight. There we go. Indeed. I mean, Youmu can do bullet time, right? So, yeah, she is pretty up for it. And Reimu's like, amulets don't work because Youmu can just cut bullets, remember? Kanpaku's single sword style, so just one of the many styles of the greater Youmu. And of course that line had to come in because that's her, just like the quote-unquote famous quote from her. So, more amulets, more cuts, and yeah. You're not gonna win with just basic attacks here, Reimu. You're gonna have to do something a bit better than that. And yeah, she has two swords for a reason, so she can block and attack with separate swords. One short sword, one long sword, I believe. So yeah, has no weaknesses. I don't know about that. Because honestly, we've just been attacking with one person so far. Don't we have a whole entire party here? And Reimu's like, how dare you? I'm the only one who can attack here. So yeah, Reimu's trying to do everything herself, and Sakuya's like, you know, we could just gang up on her, right? And so that's pretty much exactly what's gonna happen, and everybody launches stuff, and Yomu's like, oh god, there's too many people. That's not fair. Indeed. There are literally 9 of us here. You can't fight us all by yourselves. But she isn't alone. because butterflies come out and everybody dies. The end. Not exactly, but still. This is a very long cutscene, basically, but yeah, Yuyuko is indeed going to come out, which is going to kind of ruin the point of Youmu being here, but she's looking cute as always though. Like, seriously, Yuyuko is ridiculously adorable in this game. She just wants to join in because it's fun, that's it. So yeah, as stated. But it looks so fun, I just want to join in, I want to have some fun. Let me have some fun, Youmu. Yeah, and she's also bored, so that's it. Yeah, Yuyuko doesn't really know what... Well, no, she does know. Because Yuyuko's a lot smarter than she actually looks. She's just whimsical, that's the thing. And of course, Reimu's like, you know about the incident, therefore you're the culprit. Because Reimu's not very smart in this game. Of course, Pachi's gonna say that's totally suspicious, right? But Satori should also learn to wait her turn. Because Yuyuko actually didn't know about Satori's power by the looks of it. And that suddenly changed the mood quite a bit. Like, those eyes and that pose doesn't really look anywhere near as joyful as it did before. So yeah, now she knows where Satori is from. But now that she knows the deal, Satori's like, uh-oh, what's going on here? Yep, Yuyuko has the ability to close her heart off to Satori, apparently. Contrived BS for the win, but yep, apparently characters in the Touhou universe can close off their hearts if they choose to mind reading. Arbitrarily. Or at least the strong ones can. Yeah. So Yuyuko is not particularly happy about this. And it kind of feels like she was going to say something a bit more than what she did there. But it doesn't look... It looks as if negotiations have very quickly come to a abrupt halt here. So yeah. Wow, wow. Yep, Yuyuko indeed is pretty angry at that. And so now it's just combo attack! Everybody dies. The end 2.0, except not really. Yeah, so you've got to kind of go on the offensive and just fight it out. So yeah, we have to actually fight both of them at the same time. That face! Oh man, Yuyuko's face is so ridiculous there. So, let's go with a boss fight between Youmu and Yuyuko. So, the first thing to note here is that both of them are pretty freaking dangerous if you let them be. Yuyuko is the less immediate threat compared to Youmu. Both of them have got fairly high evasion, and Yomu's very good against physical and Yuyuko is very good against magic, kind of like Goku and Orin from before. So we're going to start off with the Horidol as before, and we're just going to go straight in with the Element Bullet, going for water attacks here. And I'm going to go for Blade Murder on Youmu here, because Blade Murder has the side effect of reducing physical attack. If I could get that effect off, it would be very nice here. And we'll go straight for the resistance buff with Sana. I don't want to get insta-killed by Yuyuko, as we've established can happen. And they're luckily in a row formation here, so Stream Laser can hit both of them quite nicely. I mean, Yuyuko's magic defense is significant, you see the gigantic difference there, but Stream Laser will still do a decent bit of damage. And yeah, this is the main attack that Yuyuko spams a fair bit. And essentially what it does is it lowers magic defense, if it actually like works that way, but it didn't this time, so that is good. Now, the gimmick behind Youmu is that Youmu will cast one of 3 different stances on the first turn, and then she will bust out skills and eventually spell cards of different types and like different strengths and whatnot, depending on what stance she has. So the Diva Loca stance is her, in fact we can show it here, it is physical defense and evasion. So the Diva Loca is her defensive one. She has Manyusa stance, which is critical hit power, and Azura stance, which, Manyusa is also very heavy on single target stuff. Azura stance is physical attack up and is much more dedicated to hitting areas. So AoE damage, make sure your party's not in all one small cluster, because Azura stance will wreck you. Diva Loca stance focuses on columns, and the thing about Youmu is that she will basically always attack the front row. So it's very nice when she goes into Diva Loca with Alice around, because if she doesn't attack Alice, she's probably going to, almost definitely going to attack Notori and Sakuya here. So I can just guard the front row and be done with it. Now, both of these 2 characters are weak against the 4 core elements, like 25% weakness I believe. So Notori is quite nice in the sense of she can gun down the enemies. Yuyuko does have perfect dodge, however, so she will arbitrarily evade physical attacks sometimes, and it's really annoying. Especially because her magic defense is so high, so you have to be careful of that. Both of them do have high evasion when Youmu has a Diva Loca stance on, so I'm going to raise accuracy first here, because that way I can land pretty much all of my hits. So there it is, the Heavenly Halo Slash, and Sakuya didn't get defended there, which is kind of annoying, but yeah. Also, Youmu is a warrior class, and she has perfect dodge too. Great. I don't think I actually got perfect dodged by Youmu in my practice run of this, but Youmu does count as a warrior, so she will be able to take Slayer damage from Notori. And if you put 13 points into the laser tree with Marissa, then you can also have Slayer effects with Marissa too, which is quite nice. So hopefully she doesn't dodge this attack, that would be really sucky. I think Sakuya is still decent enough in health, so I'm gonna buff physical attack this turn, and probably heal her next turn. So that is how this will go. So Stream Laser's doing a pretty decent amount of damage, and Alice really isn't taking any damage here, which is nice. And Yuyuko perfect dodged. But that doesn't matter too much, because Zero Kelvin Buster just blitzes Youmu there. And the Slayer plus the crit from Sakuya before takes her out. So when you take out one of these 2, the other one gets 2 actions, which is why you really don't want to fight Youmu alone, because Youmu casting double spell cards per turn will just destroy you. Now Yuyuko doesn't necessarily attack just the front row, so I'm just going to defend the back row from here. Sakuya should be able to take care of herself, so that's fine. And then we'll go with the calculated barrage, see if we can get that off, and I'm gonna go for another murder, try and lower physical defense. I think Yuko's got some good resistance to that stuff, but I don't really see much else that I want to do with her this turn, so that is fine. And then we'll just Master Spark. Final Spark will be something we'll use later, but Master Spark is fine for now. And as you see, instant death coming in quite a lot there. But if you do get a hit off with Sakuya, then it does so much damage. In my practice of this, Sakuya's hits really didn't land very often because of perfect dodge, so it's kind of annoying. But if you do manage to land them, then she does ridiculous amounts of damage, so do bear that in mind as well. Now, I think I'm still just gonna go for another murder here, and we'll heal off Sakuya this turn just to make sure that she does not die. And yeah, we'll just go from here. So, thankfully Ghastly Dream is only a small area, but you can see there the magic defense down is definitely painful, and there's a pivot dodge. Yuyuko regens in Darkland, so if you want to bring Reimu to counteract that, that is not necessarily a bad idea. Now she's getting pretty low in health here, so I'm gonna bust out the main reason I brought Alice here, which is to cover, because yeah, covering is kind of very important here. I mean, there's two ways you can sort of finish this fight, but we'll just kill her and show what she does, and then I'll explain them as the next cutscene goes. So, if we can get the physical attacks off this turn, we can take her out. If not, then I can probably final spark her next turn and take her out anyway. But there you go. Yuyuko has a parting word, which insta-kills. Now it hits the entire party and it inflicts instant death on anybody that it actually connects with. And the resistance stuff that I have on kinda helped actually, but it's not guaranteed because I believe Resurrection Butterfly also halves your instant death resistance too, which is why Sakuya, even though she had resistance +1, just got wrecked. Marissa had no protection against it, she got wrecked. And Notori was covered by Alice, so she could never get hit that turn. Alice didn't die, luckily, despite having 2 shots against her, because her resistance was apparently good enough with the charismatic ghost band. Definitely put that item on before you go into this fight. And even Sanai with her death guard was enough, so that's good. So you don't have to use Alice for that fight. She of course does make it very, very much easier. Admit to the incident, Yuyuko. You guys got wrecked. But yeah, Yuyuko's little palsy face there. Yeah, but there are 2 ways around that. Basically, you can cover one of your party members with Alice, or you can use Private Square from Sakuya. I mean, there's actually more than just that, but those are the main ones. If Private Square is in effect, then she will not be able to cast Resurrection Butterfly if you kill her. So kill her during Private Square is a good thing, and is one good strategy. The other one that I know of is killing her by using Notori's chases, because for some reason it doesn't actually trigger off of that from what I have heard. I haven't actually done that method myself because usually I don't even use Notori at the moment, I'm mostly using Notori here because she's kind of useful. She's more useful than Aya, and she's pretty much my only other physical attacker right now. So, yeah, I usually don't have Notori this high level by now, but yeah, you guys should have asked this beforehand. So what? Yeah, Yuko's not telling, because basically we brought Satori, and Satori really killed the mood here. Yep, she doesn't feel like it. Too bad. It's not really your fault, Satori, but you could have waited until, But even then, Yuyuko would have got pissed off regardless, but yeah. Yuyuko knows more than she's letting on, let's just put it that way. Give a parting gift. Yomu's face during all of this, though. Lend you something very useful. Look at that shifty eye look. What exactly? Well, yeah, what exactly is going on with this here? You can have Youmu. The way that's said. And Yomu's like, what the hell? Really? What? Why am I going? So yeah, Youmu didn't really know anything of what was going on here either, as always. So Yuyuko was standing behind the gate the entire time and heard Satori saying, but wouldn't that mean that Yuyuko already knew about Satori's power? Yep. So yeah, basically it's punishment or resolve the incident. Take your pick. And satisfied with the result, yeah, Youmu is coming with us. I can sympathize. Like, I mean, Sanae is in a similar sort of position with her goddesses, right? So, yeah. I mean, Youmu is still kind of useful, right? So... Satori's like, well, this is all done, I'm leaving. Not a chance. Yeah, that's pretty much it. You're staying with us now, Satori. Too bad. Yeah, I actually do feel sorry for Satori, because she got dragged up as an item and she had the opposite effect of what she was supposed to have. It wasn't really her fault, but, you know, that's it. So where are we going now? That is the question. But we have an answer. Muranzuka. Because one thing that was noted before coming to the Netherworld is that the mist had the effect of, or the appearance of, inviting yokai to their death. And so instantly the thought was Yuyuko because she has the power over suicide, right? But what if it's not her? What if it's actually... I mean, obviously it's not her, but what if it's actually to do with the land of the dead? Or, I mean, trying to get the wording right here, because obviously the Netherworld is kind of the land of ghosts and all that, but Muranzuka is where the souls and stuff go to pass, right? The Mound of the Nameless and all that stuff. At least in Touhou it is. So could it be something to do with Shigeaki or Komachi, you know? And that's essentially why we'd be going there. So yeah, that is going to be our next main location. Is Muranzuka. And of course, happy. I love Yuyuko in this game. Like her expressions are so good. It's just, I mean, all the characters look really nice, but I think Yuyuko has got to be one of the best drawn ones in this game for my, you know, in my opinion. So yeah. Basically, we now have Youmu as well, and yeah, Yuyuko's sending her out to get experience, that's why. So, yeah. So, once again, yep, Yuyuko is basically done, and that is it. Or is it? Shadowy figure. The plot thickens even further. So, yeah, there's a report to take, and that is it. Who is that character? That will be revealed in time. So, we get Youmu, and we get a, you know, her formation. So, let's go over Youmu a little bit, or, well, actually, let's go over the formation first. So, Konbaku Sword Style formation. It's a very heavy physical formation, but unlike Saku's, it doesn't suck, because it doesn't kill magic as well. So the front line here, the front three characters, all have lower defense, but increased speed and attack. So if you're using 3 physical attackers in your party, this formation is really nice. It doesn't offer very much defense for the back row, like they still get targeted reasonably often and there's no buffs for them. But you can have a dedicated like heal character and still a good magic user for the back row. It's a good formation. I have actually used this somewhat before. It's quite nice. So, Youmu. Let's go over Youmu. So, she uses the Kunpaku swords, of course, and that means she's a generic sword user that way, if you like, but her swords have a bit less accuracy, but they are more powerful, and they have exorcism properties. So, exorcism isn't really something you see very often, and I did say I was going to go into it later, but I may as well just go into it now, because we've seen a bit of it with Reimu's weapons as well. Essentially, exorcism is a trait that lets you negate some of the opponent's divine barrier. Now, divine barrier isn't something we've come across yet, but it basically is a percentage modifier that reduces the damage that you deal with any of your attacks. So we've seen characters take less damage from physical or less damage from magic specifically. Those are physical and magic barriers respectively. Divine barrier is both at the same time. Now I believe all of these are susceptible to exorcism, and exorcism itself is a percentage. So 25% of the opponent's barrier gets ignored with this particular sword's exorcism right now. So if your opponent had 50% divine barrier, so they took half damage from all attacks, this sword would cut 12.5% of that, not 25%. There's a big difference between that. So if you want to ignore divine barriers and stuff entirely, you need 100 exorcism. But yeah, you don't get 100 exorcism that often. You do get it, but not on most of the earlier stuff. Should we note that Youmu has a resistance to slash right now? That's I think that's a natural resistance, so that's great. But yeah, she's basically a general sword user, and much like the actual fight, she has 3 different stances she can use. So the Diva Loca stance, the one that we saw before, it increases her evasion and her physical defense. Other stuff it increases is also Restrict status condition. All 3 stances will enhance her resistance to one of the different classes of permanent status. So the Azura stance increases mind control resistance, the Manyusa stance increases disable resistance, so no paralysis and stuff, and the Diva Loca will increase your restrict resistance, so no blindness, stuff like that. All of the stances have their own specific stuff as well, like evasion, perfect dodge stuff here, accuracy and critical hit rate. I guess that's the other thing for the Manyusa, probably should have said, but it didn't matter for the fight. But yeah, critical hit chance and accuracy there, and plain physical attack, and a little bit of induction here, so status reducing stuff is quite nice. Youmu can use swords, spears and axes along with her katana. Her katana is actually a very, very good tree to level, and this is probably the one you're going to spend most of your early time leveling, because you get some really nice stuff here. You've got multiple attacks when you get far enough down, critical hit chance is good here, Dance of Shadows is in here as well, which will make her physical attack sometimes instant kill, which is really nice. So yeah, normally what you're going to do is you're going to max out the katana tree, then you're going to focus on one of the stances that you like. You can get some half ghost, 7 points in particular is quite nice, because then you reduce your spell card cooldown a fair bit, which is nice. There's other useful stuff in here as well, like 20 points to get +1 resistance to your equipped weapon type, so normally that's an extra 25% slash resistance, quite nice, but you're not normally going to be using that too much. But still, 7 points here is nice, and then whichever stance you want, as you'd expect with what I've said so far. Azura stance is best for mobs, Manyusa stance is usually the boss killing one, and Diva Loca stance isn't useless, but is not normally as good. But I've seen some Diva Loca stance stuff being done pretty nicely, and there are some good skills for it. I just don't think it's quite as good as the others. So In order to use Youmu properly, you have to be in a stance. So in order to use Slash of the Present, you have to be in Manyusa stance. So you have to take a turn setting up your stance, and then you can do your attacks. So here, each of these stances do increase their respective stats even further outside of what the growth trees do. And yeah, that's pretty much that. So let's take a look at the spells here. So Manyusa stance has Slash of the Present, single target, reduces physical defense fairly often. Manyusa stance skills are the strongest ones because they hit the lowest number of enemies. Devaloka stance skills pretty much always hit columns, so if you're in an area that tends to have 3 or maybe 4 monsters in one column, Devaloka stance's skills are very good. And they also tend to reduce a lot of stats too, so this one reduces both magic attack and magic defense. Pretty powerful if you're using mages and stuff a lot. All of these skills have the same cooldown and MP cost, so don't worry too much about that. And then the Ten Kings Retribution is a widespread move that reduces physical attack. So it hits a lot of enemies, but it doesn't do as much damage. That's compensated for, however, by the fact of Azura stance raises physical attack. So there you go. And then her last spell requires you to be in any stance, doesn't have a specific one attached to it, but it does a fair amount of damage. It hits a column. I think all of her last spells hit a column. She doesn't get many, but yeah, they're all column-based attacks, and they do a lot of damage. So don't discount it, but do take note of the bomb cost. Now, just to go very quickly back to the growth tree stuff, because a bomb cost is a thing, all 3 of her stance trees do increase the number of bombs that you have, but only the Devaloka stance has a maxed condition here, and I think this is one of the very few times where, if I remember rightly, the effects of an incremental skill in the same tree actually do stack. Because you see at the very bottom of this tree you have bombs plus 4, and I think if you max out Devaloka you do actually get 5 bombs, because there's one in the 5-point skill, and yeah, you should, I think, get all 4 bombs there otherwise. So one thing you can do is you can put points into stances that you aren't using and still get benefits from it. Most of what you're going to be doing with your stances will involve just one particular style though. You want to pick one style and focus entirely on it. So you don't want to be trying to use Azura and Manyusa stances all the time. That just isn't really going to work, because you'd have to switch stances to use half your skills, and it's just not good. Try not to use multiple stances, and you shall be fine. So with that, the last thing we're going to do here, we're going to go see Akyu and get some stuff, and next time we're going to explore what Satori can do. So yep, we've defeated Yuyuko and Youmu, so yep, controlling the dead, and the famed Kunpaku sword style, yep. So we have some stuff from that, which is Youmu weapon, and the upgraded shield stuff. I think these, yeah, it's a buckler, so these are still lightweight. Wow, that's a lightweight shield. This, I don't remember what that blocks, we'll find out in a sec. I think it's actually one of the special shields that blocks like magic, and exclusively, so magic really well. And then the gladiator shield does other stuff, physical really well. So then we have Notori armor, we have Alice armor, we have Youmu armor, and the first instance of the Atman coin and the coin and soul accessories. So that's good. But we also get something extra, because we have subjugated over 1,000 yokai. So this is one reason why it's not a bad idea to kill all the enemies that you can, because you can get stuff for killing lots of yokai. So yep, we get some extra stuff at this point, and that includes some a lot of stuff we probably won't be able to craft for a fair while, but we'll show them off anyway. So Sun, Moon and Milky Way curtains, and then a couple of mantles as well. Plus we get this, we'll actually be able to do something with this soon, but we get the upgrade recipes for the some of the other accessories that we get. So Dead Princess's band, you can obviously, you know, equate that to the charismatic ghost band that will basically always block death, instant death stuff. And Ice Fairy's wing, we actually haven't seen the other thing for that yet because we haven't got there, but I'll show it off anyway. It needs a frozen frog, and you will basically be able to block stun status pretty much all the time. Very nice. I do like this a lot. We will probably craft it at some point, but as you see, it takes gold, which is difficult to get, so yeah, probably not going to craft it anytime soon. So the other stuff that we got, let's just go ahead and show them off here. We got Youmu weapons, as we said, so this can also inflict instant death by itself, but we're not going to be using it by itself, of course. But, you know, it stacks alongside the Dance of Shadow stuff, I believe, which is quite nice. But Youmu also gets some Slayer stuff too, so we're definitely going to make this, I believe, because this is, yeah, it's a pretty powerful weapon, and if we're going to use Youmu anytime soon, we do need a good weapon for her, so we may as well make her tier 2 weapon straight off. So let's do that. Then we got the Midwinter Buckler, which is a water blocking shield, basically a physical shield that also blocks water, just like the incandescent one from before. And yeah, they are what I thought they were. Okay, slightly different to what I thought, but the Spirit Shield will block core elements very well, and nothing else. And then the Gladiator Shield blocks physical attacks very well, and nothing else. The fact that you can use this on any character does make it tempting. And because, you know, I might end up making it later, we'll see. But the other things we got some armor to show off, so I think this, yeah, that was actually lower tier stuff. So we have Notori armor, which is good. So Notori stuff usually prevents blindness, and it also gives her perfect dodge and chaser damage. So it's actually quite a nice armor, but I don't have the stuff for it, so not gonna make it, but whatever. It's a good armor if you want it. The Alice armor will block paralysis all the time, pretty much all the time, which is really good, and gives her an extra bomb and an extra life. It's not really too special. Do note that it has a lot of physical defense though, and it actually has magic defense, quite rare for a heavyweight armor. And then Yomu's armors are pretty cool, because they give her the chance to counter-attack physical. Now, I'm gonna need a bit of help in the comments with knowing exactly how this stuff works, because I don't really know exactly how, what the difference between counter-attack and physical, like, strike back is here. I think my sort of feeling on it, my gut feeling would be that counter-attack is something that would work against any attack, whereas physical strike back, or if there was a magic version, would only work on that particular type of attack. But I don't actually know that off the top of my head, or, you know, I've never really looked it up, so that's something that we could probably stand to know. Then finally we have another Celestial Peach if you need it for this. I might actually try and pick, probably will end up picking one of these up when doing Satori stuff, but basically the Atman coin is a life gain thing. You get 2 extra lives for equipping it, and your Cute Soul, definitely get the soul items if you can, because they give you extra bombs. This is not only good for characters in the party, but also exceptionally good for the commander, because the commander will give you just that much more especially when you get +1, like +3 or +5 bombs off of these things. Because obviously, with a name like Atman Coin 1, you know that's not going to be the only thing in the series, there's going to be more of them. So, do make these if you can, the soul items, they are very, very good. Finally, we have the curtain items that we picked up just now. So these take diamond, which is not something we're going to see very many of, not until post-game. So we're probably never going to make this, but if you can make it, it's not bad. 10% less physical damage is quite nice. Moon Curtain, of course, is going to be 10% less magic. So you can see this needs an elemental sphere, this needs an art of war, so yeah. 2 differences there, and then this needs a Devil's Heart, which is really, really hard to get. You're probably never ever going to be able to make this item, but if you can, then it basically gives you yeah, Divine Barrier effects, because Exorcism is almost unheard of, I think, for most enemies. So yeah, 10% less damage to both. Then Zephyr Mantle gives you 10% perfect dodge, which is quite nice, but it takes emeralds, so again, not something we're going to see very much in the game. And the Gale Mantle evades magic. So magic barrier is kind of a bad word though for this. Like, I think there should have been a different thing that the translators put for this, because there are 2 types of magic barrier. There's this one where you avoid magic attacks X% of the time, but there's also one that, you know, magic barrier also is a synonym for reduces the damage that you take from magic attacks. There are 2 separate types that way, and it's kind of annoying. Like, there should be a better distinction, but oh well. So, with all of that done, this is Gamercal needing to get a drink because his throat is getting sore. Too much freaking talking between the 2 parts here, I think. But yeah, we've been playing the Genius of Sapphirus, and next time we're gonna do a bit of a showcase about how Satori works, and probably use that time to get a little bit of Youmu leveling. But Yomu's gonna be our commander for the next area, so she'll get some levels that way. But yeah, that's what we're gonna do. It's probably going to be another long part because Satori has a few sort of in-depth things to explain, most, you know, with her learning stuff, but we'll do that later. So yeah, until then.